favorite TV shows and movies so far in 2024. I just finished Before Sunrise just a few days ago on recommendation from Meg Hughes here on YouTube. And wow, when I tell you that this movie could be on replay at my house and I would still find Debbie and Hawk's conversation fascinating the 22nd time, I mean it. This movie is so good. The movie follows a young man and woman as they are on a train passing through Europe, and it stops in Vienna where they decide to get off and spend one day. They start as strangers and they become friends, and do they become more? That is the question. I know I haven't used that many words to describe it, but if I haven't made myself clear, this movie is for the internet girlies that overthink. It is mind-blowing for me at 26 to watch this. I can't even begin to comprehend what it would be like for my 16-year-old self to watch it. And luckily I do believe you watch movies and read books at just the perfect time, so it must be the same with this one. But wow, I can't stop thinking about it, and I can't stop thinking about it's a movie about a conversation. The whole plot of the movie is a conversation between two people. It is wild that it is so all-consuming to watch that, but that is also why I love it so much, because that is dialogue. So yes, I can't wait to watch the two other movies in this series, and I might make a video about it because it fills me with joy, and I hope the other two does as well. Femme is a movie I've had my eyes on for quite some time, but haven't really had the courage to watch alone. But now I did. Jules' life and career as a drag queen is destroyed by a horrific homophobic attack. But after a chance encounter with his attacker, the deeply closeted Preston, he begins his journey for revenge. Unrecognizable, out of his way, Jules infiltrates Preston's life, and the line between revenge, seduction, and power are blurred. This movie left me speechless, both figuratively and literally. My mouth was hanging open, and I was ready to press play again immediately after finishing it, if it wasn't because I felt like an accomplice in what had happened, the horrific events throughout this film. And that is what makes an incredible film, when you don't just feel like you've been watching it, but feel like you've taken part. You feel like one of the bullies at the side that just stands there watching while someone else is hurt. It is a very dark film, and it is a film that shows the worst part of humanity, and bear that in mind before watching. But with that said, McKay and Stuart Jarrett's performance in this movie was out of this world. We were not watching two actors. You are literally watching Preston and Jules. It's so rare that I feel like I'm not watching two actors on a screen portraying something. It just felt like they were their characters. This was real life. You were there. La Chimera caught my attention on TikTok, where a girl talked about how this is not talked about enough. And so will I. This movie is not talked about enough. The movie stars Josh O'Connor, and he never fails to amaze me, and this role fits him so very well. Everyone has their own chimera, something they try to achieve but never manages to. In an adventurous journey between living in the dead, forest and the city, celebration and solitude, we follow a group of characters trying to find their chimera. This movie is so soft in its look, and it feels like tangible magic, but still so very mundane. I wanted to take a little screen grab of this film every 20 seconds while we were in the cinema. I just kept looking and being amazed by the look of this film. And after having seen it, I know for sure that I have to watch it again, because I was so, again, swallowed up by the look of this film that the story came second. So I truly do feel that I need to watch it again to get an even better understanding, maybe a deeper understanding of the story. Because I talked to my friend afterwards who had seen it, and she was like, this, and I was like, but I only looked at the pretty pictures. This amazingly beautiful movie. I heard the dialogue and I loved it, but the film was just so beautiful in and of itself. I could have seen it without sound, but I need to see it one more time at least to really appreciate the whole story as well. Thelma and Louise is one of those movies that everyone have heard about their entire life, and it took me this long to watch it. But the reason why I didn't really feel like watching it was because I knew about the ending. Normally this is not a problem and I will not spoil it, even though I don't know if it counts as a spoiler 33 years later. But again, I will not spoil it, but this certain type of ending I don't like. So I was really keeping a distance from starting to watch it, which was silly, because this movie grabbed me from start to finish, let me tell you. This movie is about Thelma and Louise. Surprise. Louise is a waitress and has problem with her boyfriends. Not boyfriends. She only has one boyfriend. And Thelma is married to Daryl, who just kind of want her out of the way, like, stay in the kitchen, woman, I need to watch my football. One day they decide to leave their life behind, at least for a weekend, and they go on a trip that will change their lives. I was so pleasantly surprised by this film, and I kind of feel embarrassed to say that, but I could not stop thinking about it. It kept replaying in my mind those scenes, this bond between those women and just their lives. It hit home in a way only something written by a woman, Corey, acted by two amazing women, Davis and Sheridan can and will. I first found out about bottoms by watching TikTok edits, and I love edits. And I don't know about you guys, but I started watching edits on Tumblr and YouTube, and then I had a little break until I got TikTok, and I'm loving edits more than ever now. So that's how I got into watching bottoms. By the way, I'd also watched Emma Seligman, the director of this film's debut film, Shiva Baby, which is also very good, so I kept an eye out to see when she would make something else. This is that something else. I love bottoms, and I mostly love it because it's a crazy, crazy movie, period. It is all the best of movies from the 2000s mixed with a bit of kick-ass. Like, what? Because to sum it up, the movie is about two unpopular queer kids who starts a fight club to get laid. It is like Booksmart, but if it had an older, crazy sister who liked comic books. I know I keep comparing it to so many other films, but that's what I really like about it. It is an original movie, but it reminds me of all the films that I watched while growing up. It's truly all the best parts of what I liked to watch. It's like cut, made up, so it makes this original film out of everything I love. Because I can't tell you how many times me and my friends have watched Scary Movie, Kick-Ass, and American Pie. And this is just all the best bits. Two other amazing films I watched this year that are honorable mentions are Challengers and Dune Part 2. And if you know me in real life, you'll be like, Laura, why did you not start out by talking about Challengers? You don't. Shut up about it. You don't. And I don't. But I do think that there is enough people talking about these two amazing films on the internet that I did not want to use my cinephilia on that. So I just decided to keep them as honorable mentions, also because don't we all agree that these are amazing films? I've also loved some series this year that I will talk about now, and I'll start with the two that I finished. First one is Anne with an E, and what a beautiful story. I didn't really know about the books, but now I have also read the first one, but I will say that the series actually captivated me a lot more, which is a first when it comes to book from movie. Can you hear that I'm back in the city? McNulty playing Anne just brought her to life in a way that Anne in the book just wasn't for me. But in this series, wow. Anne Shirley is an 11-year-old orphan who arrives at the Cuthberts farm, and they are shocked because they are expecting a boy, but Anne is ready to fight her case to stay there and to make them love her. And this is just the most incredible story of growing up, feeling different, being different, and how we can just make space for each other. All in all, it is just a lovely series with a lot of lovable character, and it has this one thing that I just love, which is that you laugh almost as much as you cry, which always puts shows high on my list. My Lady Jane is like a breath of fresh air. It is sweet, hilarious, and the romance, guys. In an alternate 16th century England, we have the Ethians, which are people that can turn into animals who are banished from the lands by the Verity, which are people that cannot turn into animals. In this world, we follow Lady Jane Grey, who is just being made to marry Guildford by her mother, which she does not want to. She is, by the way, also the cousin of the king, which might make for some interesting adventures during this season. The thing is, this show is literally crazy. The people in it is crazy, the world is crazy, everything is crazy, but it works. It works because the approach is that it takes itself seriously. It is not making fun of itself, of the world, of the characters. They are like this and they are respected being like this, even though it would be crazy in our world to act and do these things. It is this world that they live, and that is just, as I said before, such a breath of fresh air. I love this show and what it is doing, and the romance between Jane and Guildford is incredible. Fireworks. And I am sitting there giggling, kicking my feet. And if you aren't, I truly don't know what to show you, because those two have a chemistry. I also have to say that this really reminds me of the incredible masterpiece that is the animated Shrek. The characters, the world, everything reminds me of Shrek, but in the best way possible. So I did a little TikTok where I compared characters from Lady Jane to Shrek, and I'll just show you a little bit of them here. It is so silly, but I love it. I love it, and I hope that some of you guys can see it, because otherwise we have to check my brain, because this is just, again, I find it so hilarious. Please in the comments say that some of you have thought the same. I sadly also have to report that it just was announced that the show has been cancelled, so we only will have this first season, which is literally breaking my heart, because we get something original that is not like anything else. And because there is not enough viewership, and you cannot tell me that it did not have millions of views, it just didn't have enough millions of views. Because everyone I saw on TikTok and read articles, everyone loved it, even the critics. So it is not fair. I will not stand for it. I hate it, to be honest. Amazon Prime, I am disappointed, and I know you're watching, cause why wouldn't you? And hail Queen Anna Burgess, who made this series. You are, we love you. I am here for you, and I will fight for you in a non-violent way. I have also watched the first season of White Lotus. I've known about it since it came out, and my friends have told me to watch it since it came out, because they did. And I'm very good at not watching things when they come out and just doing it in my own time, but this is one of those I promised them to watch. They even made me a list of series I have to watch. So yeah, I finally did it. I watched the first season of White Lotus. White Lotus is about both guests and employees working at a luxury resort in Maui for the span of a week. It is crazy to watch and love a show where you only like two characters, the rest of them you kind of hate, and then there's two you're also very indifferent to. But you have to give credit where credit is due, and they did an amazing job at making you not being able to look away from these characters. They were not likable, you were not hating them completely, not all of them, but you were just watching this train wreck of guests and employees alike being crazy, being literal crazy people. And it was incredible. And they give them all a small chance of redemption and a peek at what they could be if they decided to be good people. I was so pleasantly surprised by the cinematography of this show. It was beautiful. It was stunning. Like, I kept wanting to pause and go back because it was just so beautiful. It was incredible. Some of my friends felt it was a bit slow at the show, but because I was just like bathing in these beautiful, beautiful scenes, I loved the pacing of it. Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Buffy the Vampire Slayer, do I need to say more? It sounds incredible, right? This has been my aunt's favorite show since forever, and she has tried to make me watch it a couple of times, like we've heard before now. But I finally decided to sit down and watch it, and it's safe to say I am loving it. We follow a young woman, Buffy, who is destined to slay vampires and other mystical wild creatures, while she also deals with the life of being 16, going to high school, having a mean principal, a mom who doesn't understand, and sweet ass friends. I knew I would like this, and that sometimes is a funny thing to say, but I really did know, and I swallowed it whole while being in England. I watched it every night before bed, and it was just such a good show to wind down to, because there's something happens, but it's still, I might regret those words later. But the first season, you have a little conflict, you have a little scary monster. I did feel a bit scared by some of them, but everything is resolved every time, so you can go to bed and just feel good, happy, positive, because there's always a good end to every episode. But it is wild how many kids can die at Buffy's school without anyone being truly freaked out by it. I also love the mentor-student dynamic between Buffy and the librarian Giles, who is also her watcher, which is someone who helps the Vampire Slayer. To sum it up, it is simply just a great show that's very well balanced between monster hunting and high school drama, which is also why I surprisingly enough really love the mean girl Cordelia. And this might be more season 2 because I have started that, but it does show a little bit in the first season. She just becomes I didn't realize I would be able to like her so much, and it felt kind of wrong in the beginning, but she just gets better and better. Not because she's nice, but because she just is, again, out of this world and hilarious. And the fact that Booth from Bones is in this is peak TV to me. Peak TV. And Uther Pendragon from Merlin is the librarian. And you have Alison Hannigan, who's both in American Pie and How I Met Your Mother, and she's also in this. So this series is just peak TV when it comes to good actors and people you know from somewhere else that are in this, started in this, and then got to go elsewhere.